Hello, and welcome to a game video. Sort of. This is a visual novel, When Our Journey Ends. It is a visual novel, which, for those who don't know, means that it's not a particularly common. It's not like other games that you've heard of. Um, in a visual novel, it's basically just static images and lots and lots of talking. Um, Varying degrees of interactivity. So it's more of a just a narrative experience type of thing. So this particular game actually came out back in 2017. I did play it at the time that it did come out. Uh, I'm playing it now just because I don't know. It's a fairly interesting game. Fairly interesting story. I'll actually talk a little bit about the inspiration for the story in just a moment here. Extras, nothing in the extras. Alright, so let's sort of get a little bit into it right now. Not too far before I'll have to stop to explain some things. It is only just nearing the start of spring. The remaining snow on the ground is finally slowly melting away, but alas, it is still not fast enough for Mariko's liking. Being the driven girl she is, Mariko only has her mind set on the near future. Later in the spring, she is scheduled to graduate, and as far as she is concerned, graduation cannot come soon enough. Mariko is 17 years old, a high schooler, who leads a fairly content, if not slightly boring, life. She is a practical young adult, with her head screwed on straight, does well in school, and despite living in the country, she even has a few friends. There are only a couple of minor complaints in her family life, but for the most part, she is doing well for herself. However, what Mariko wants most of all is to graduate and move to the big city. She has a couple of universities picked out already, and is currently trying to decide which one she favors most. The other university would serve as a backup, in case she doesn't get into her first choice, but either way, she is looking forward to escaping from the countryside. On this brisk afternoon, Mariko is returning from school. A light dusting of snow falls from the sky, and a breeze sends a shiver down her spine. Luckily, she is still wearing her winter uniform, on account that the spring semester has not officially started yet. Her hair and face are tucked into the scarf she wears over the uniform jacket, keeping her mostly warm. Mariko walks her normal route from school to the station, not taking one of her usual detours to a cafe. Her club activities ran late today, and so she wants to go home and work on her homework as soon as possible. She can see the station now and picks up her pace. As she approaches, she doesn't bother to pass through the station building. Instead, she walks around and passes the gate before turning a corner. There it is, the train waiting faithfully for her, its only passenger. To be honest, Mariko is rather embarrassed about the whole situation and the attention it brings to her personally. People, her parents especially, tend to make a big deal of her being the only person that the train serves. As soon as she graduates in spring, the train and its subsequent stations are to be shut down. To Mariko, it was a pain to go all the way to the next town over to attend school. She had begged her parents to move, but unfortunately, their jobs would not allow for such a commute. So instead, she gets to wake up early and come home late in the day, something she didn't appreciate. And here's where I'm going to take a break from the story to explain something. The inspiration. So, um, back at the start of 2016, there was a bit of viral news about the Q Shirataki station. I apologize if I mispronounced that. Yeah, the Q Shirataki station. Um, it's in Hokkaido. So, in mid 2015, the Japanese National Railways, uh, Japanese Railway Group, or yeah, Japanese JR Hokkaido, so the Japanese Railways, are the people who ran the train, announced that they would be closing this station along with three others on that line because of low passenger usage. Uh, then the story got picked up by international news, uh, where it became known as the station that stays open for one high school girl. There was a little bit of misunderstanding. So the story went that this train line ran so yeah, the station or the story went that the station was supposed to have been closed a few years earlier, but stayed open for one girl who used it to get to and from school. Um, that yeah, it was going to be closed, but then the railway found out that it was used for a girl, teen girl, who was using it to get to and from school, and they decided to keep it open until she graduated. Um, there were even stories that said that she was the only passenger on a train that ran twice a day, just for her. Not quite. Uh, wasn't quite accurate. Um, they weren't really keeping it open solely for her. Um, the fact that it closed right when she graduated was kind of a coincidence. Uh, timetables get revised in March every year in Japan, and it just so happened that it coincided with when the girl was graduating. Um, there were a few other people who used the um, that train line and even that particular train. Uh, she actually could have taken the same train at a different station. Is just the taking it at the station she was using going to meant that she got to sleep in a little bit later. She could have just gotten up earlier and gone to a different station that the same train ran through. Um, Other students did already take the train as well. So so the story that sort of became big wasn't entirely accurate. That said, it was something that was kind of a bittersweet type of thing. Uh, the student herself, in reality, the real student, actually sort of mentioned feeling sad to think that the state. I do feel sad to think it will disappear. Um, yeah, it wasn't kept open just to serve her, and she wasn't the only one using that riding that train. She was sort of the only one using that particular station. Though other people did actually get off at the station. She was the only one who actually sort of got on it in the morning, but other people did get off it in the afternoon or in the evening. Um, anyway, the train closed at on March 1st of 2016. And, it's just a bit of a, like I said, just kind of a bittersweet story, and especially anyway, so what happened is the people who made this game, they heard about that story, they read that story, and were sort of inspired to sort of make a game based on it, to make a story based on what they read. So, that's the plot of this game. The local news and her neighbors often romanticize how the Railworks company had struck a deal with the local government to make sure she would be able to get to and fro from school until she graduates. It's just like a fairy tale or a movie, they would always say. They also said things like how proud they are to serve a country with the best interests in mind for its people. So yeah, like I said, that part's not how it actually worked, that's just how international news reported it. Mariko rolls her eyes at the thought before catching sight of the station master, who nods and waves her over. She returns the greeting and ambles towards him. The station master is an aged man on the cusp of retirement. The only reason he had yet to retire was because he felt that no one else would want to maintain the station until it was defunct. He is a kindly man, who always has a greeting for Mariko on her way to school.
Hello, young miss. The train will be ready to leave soon. Did you have a good day at school?
And yes, this one has voice acting. We'll be positive with this dude. He seems nice.
My day went pretty well, sir. Thanks for asking. How did your day go?
Oh, as well as always. Today was a slow day.
He probably tells that joke every day. They both laugh at the joke, knowing very well that every day is slow at the station, since, after all, Mariko is the only passenger the station master has to tend to. Occasionally people come and take pictures of the lonely station and its single train and passenger, but that has not happened in a while. That part was actually true. People would show up to take pictures of it. The doors to the train open suddenly, catching the attention of both the station master and Mariko. The old station master bows his head to the young girl, and she turns to take her leave. Mariko waves one last goodbye to the old man as she steps into the train. The doors close behind her, and she can hear the train gearing up to go back towards her hometown. As it bucks and starts to move slowly forward, she makes her way back to the spot she usually sits in. She chose this spot to sit in 3 years ago, because during the winter months, it has the most sun. She has not changed her seating arrangement since then. And when you've got a good seat, you keep that seat. Her chosen seat has been warmed by the afternoon light as she sits down, getting comfortable. She starts to stare expressionlessly. Volume was a bit loud there. She starts to stare expressionlessly out the window, watching the surroundings slowly go by. Farms litter the scenery outside, but all of them lack plant life, as this winter had been harsh, and it was definitely not the best climate to grow local crops in. Outside the train, the clouds move lazily by, dropping snowflakes onto the background. Occasionally, a tree will whip past the train window, but the rest of the scenery is fairly sparse. Mariko is glad that the inside of the train is protected from the cold air of the outside. She leans closer to the window as her body relaxes and she prepares to wait out the rest of the ride. Mariko's breath lightly fogs the window with its heat, and eventually she has to rub the glass clean in order to see out of it once more. She glances down at her phone a few times, fiddles with it to check the time, and sighs. Though she still has a good half hour or so to wait until she arrives in her hometown, she truly wished she was at home doing homework than to be stuck in the train. Mariko glances down the length of the train car. It is empty, of course, so she is alone. She couldn't even see the conductor from this car, as he is behind the door that leads to the conductor's cabin. However, this solitude does not bother or frighten her. In fact, she finds it rather peaceful and relaxing. She leans back to listen to the train tracks rattle underneath her and starts to doze slightly without realizing it. The constant hum of the train's machinery is steady and calming, and before too long she is nodding even harder. All of her troubles begin to disappear as she enters the world of dreams. The train goes on its merry way, passing through a tunnel just as Mariko fully fades from reality. When the train buckles to a halt, Mariko jerks awake. It is a common occurrence for her to nod off during the homeward trip, so she thinks nothing of it. It is fairly easy to rouse herself thanks to the train's noisy screech to a full stop. After all, the train is a rather old model, and its gears have probably seen better days. She stretches briefly and grabs her bag so she can prepare to disembark. Hey! An achievement. As she steps out of the train car, she doesn't notice anything out of place. There is snow on the ground, as to be expected, and she is at a train station. But as she looks around, she realizes with a jolt that she doesn't recognize this particular station. It is not her home station, nor is it the one close to her school.
Wait, the train only has 2 stops. So where is this?
It actually had other stops. The real one had other stops. Just as Mariko turns to go back inside the train, the door promptly closes. She presses the button to grant her entrance to the train car, but at a second glance, it appears that the train itself has now powered down. She looks around some more, and even clambers up onto one of the station benches to see if she can spot the train conductor in the cab at the front of the train. However, there is no sign of a conductor or anyone else being nearby.
Hey, what's going on?
After a few moments of eerie silence, Mariko decided to find someone to answer her questions. Surely the station would have an attendant. To the best of her knowledge, there aren't any stops between the rural city where she attends school and the podunk town that she lives in. However, maybe this was an emergency stop she had never noticed.
But that doesn't seem right.
Mariko racks her brain as she looks around desperately for someone, anyone, who might be able to assist her. She walks in through the station door and glances about. The lobby inside was well kept. Cute, even. It had public safety posters and some potted plants to decorate the walls, as well as a service desk. Mariko immediately makes her way to the service desk and rings the bell.
Hello? Is anyone here? Mr. Conductor? Someone?
Oh, greetings.
Mariko looks up in time to see a young man walk out from one of the back offices. She bows in a quick nod motion with her head and looks him over. He seems to be of high school age, like her, but instead of a school uniform, he wears what appears to be a uniform for the train station. Maybe he was working a part-time job at the station.
Hi. My name is Mariko, and I'm afraid... Well, this is going to sound silly, but I haven't got the slightest idea of where I am right now. Could you help point me in the right direction?
Well met, Mariko. I am Hotaka. I work at this railway station, so I would be glad to offer my services. You are currently at the Midway station.
Midway? Between what and what? Where is this place? Why is the train not opening its doors?
I'm afraid the train isn't running at the moment. I believe it is undergoing maintenance right now. Were you on your way home from the city? I can show you around while you wait for the train to become operable again.
No, that's all right. I'll just wait here in the waiting room. I have to get home soon so I can finish my homework.
Understandable. Do let me know if you require any assistance.
Thank you.
Mariko takes a seat on one of the nearest benches and pulls out her phone as Otaka watches her curiously. He then takes a seat across from her and nervously stares at the floor. Before long, he is tapping his foot in an anxious rhythm on the ground.
No reception, huh? We must really be out in the boonies.
Electronics never seem to want to work here, I'm afraid. Sorry about that.
The pair of teenagers sat in awkward silence while Mariko fiddles with her phone as a distraction. Otaka doesn't seem all that bad, though Mariko wonders if his stutter is natural or because he's nervous. Maybe he just started working here? Otaka decides to break the ice.
So, you use the train to go to school?
Yeah, I do. I'm the only one, though. Like, literally. I'm the single passenger for this train.
Oh, that's different.
It's annoying is what it is. Everyone makes a big deal out of it, how I must feel so special. Really, I feel inconvenienced. I wish my parents' jobs would have allowed them to move us to the city so I'd be close to school. But no, it just couldn't work out that way.
But it must be nice to get the train to yourself. You must enjoy the peace and quiet at least, right? You don't have to deal with all of the congested city lines and crowds and pushing. You know, that sort of thing.
Busy trains do sound terrible.
Oh, sure, it's nice now. But how does it prepare me for when I go away to university? I'm scared that I won't know what to do, and I'll end up getting trampled out there in the big city.
So, you'll be moving far away after high school? Does that make you sad at all?
Not in the least. Actually, I think I'll be sort of relieved. I'm ready to get out of this podunk place.
Harsh?
I'm sick of it out here in the country. It's all I've ever known. I'm ready to go out and see the sights and bask in the city lights.
I see. Will you remember your past fondly, at least?
I doubt it. My eyes are on the future. I don't have time for the past.
I see. I'm just going to check on the status of the train. I'll be right back.
Aw, Otaka seems sad. Otaka looks pensive as he stands and walks back to the office. Mariko barely glances up as she checks her phone for service once more. Nothing. She sighs and puts the phone back in her bag before standing and looking around at some of the safety notice posters around the lobby. She gets so engrossed in one of the brightly colored posters that she just about jumps out of her skin when Otaka returns.
Hey, how'd it go?
Not so well, I'm afraid. It looks like the train will be under maintenance for a few more hours.
A few more hours? There's no reception on my phone. I'll have to let my parents know somehow or they're going to freak. Is there a payphone around here somewhere?
I'm afraid that there are no lines to the outside here.
That sounds inconvenient.
This is the worst. Rural living, am I right? But really, what kind of train station doesn't have a payphone?
That does sound like a safety concern.
I'm afraid I don't know, miss. Are you sure you don't want me to show you around? It might be a good way to pass the time.
I mean, no point in not. Sure, why not? Mariko thinks for a moment, then sighs with a shrug.
Okay, fine. But I want to stay near the train station just in case, okay?
That shouldn't be a problem, miss.
Hey now, what's with the formality?
Do forgive that. The people here tend to speak in a different sort of way. It's rubbed off on me.
Ah, I see. Since you first greeted me, I thought you sounded kind of old-timey. But only just a bit. I figured you were from somewhere else, so I let it slide.
Thank you, miss. Let's go then.
So anyway, what do you want to show me?
Well, I guess I can walk you around the station. It's not much. But there's also some touristy locations nearby, like the garden.
Sounds great. Will we be able to tell when the train is up and running again?
I have a radio for such an occasion.
That sounds like a lie.
Good thinking.
Or at least the way he said it sounded like a lie. Mariko nods with a smile and follows Hotaka out of the station, pleased with his answer. As he shows her around the station, she spaces out a few times due to boredom, but for the most part follows the conversation. They stop at a garden with a fountain. It seems that he knows a lot of the history of the local railway. She doesn't really care about what he's saying, but at least he tells the stories in an interesting enough fashion to distract her from the fact that she's going to be stranded here for the next few hours. As he talks, his stutter gets slowly better, so Mariko attributes it to him having been nervous while on the job. Have you worked for the station for very long?
You know so much about the trains here. Have you worked here for very long?
Oh, well, it's been my first and only job for a while now.
It's cool that your school allows you to have a part-time job. Mine doesn't, so I make do with club activities.
I guess you could say I'm helping out with the family business, so it's not that big of a deal.
So, what about this town? Is this where you go to school?
Oh, here?
It must be pretty small. I haven't seen a single person since I've gotten here.
Yeah. It isn't very large here. But, what about where you live?
He's hiding something.
I think my town must be bigger than this place. I mean,
Hotaka! Kon! Hotaka, is that you?
For a brief moment, Hotaka looks panicked. He glances around rapidly, looking for the source of the voice.
I'll be right back. Wait here.
Huh? But shouldn't I meet some locals on my tour?
No need to run away, Hotaka. It's just me, Kon. I'm glad I caught up with you. Who's this? A friend, Kon?
She's pretty cute.
Hello, ma'am. Mariko, this is Miss Aina.
Mariko looks around for the owner of the voice, but she doesn't see anyone nearby. She glances at Hotaka and follows his gaze down. There, at about thigh height, is what can only be described as a large white fox, wearing traditional clothes, and talking.
Hello, Mariko. It's a pleasure to meet you. We never see new faces around here. My name is Aina, Kon.
What?
It's a pretty good delivery.
Is something the matter, dear Kon?
What the heck is going on? What is that?
Why, I'm a kitsune! Kon!
Kitsune are Japanese fox yokai, or spirits. They are believed to possess superior intelligence, long life, and magical abilities. They have the ability to shapeshift and possess young women. They are often portrayed as tricksters, or servants of Inari. Yeah. Neat that it gives, glossary.
I'm sorry, Mariko. I should have told you sooner.
Told me what?
Midway isn't part of your world.
What now?
It's like a space between your world and the spirit world.
The what? This has to be an elaborate prank. Let me guess, she's some sort of animatronic, right?
Kon? I'm afraid not, dear girl. I'm a proud fox spirit. See, I've got all 9 of my tails, Kon.
Yeah, that con is getting old fast. Sure enough, as Mariko counts, Aina does have 9 tails. Don't the legends say that the more tails a fox spirit had, the older and wiser it is? And sure enough, Aina's fur was a brilliant white color. She must have been an old fox, if it weren't for the fact that she was clearly an illusion of some kind.
How do I know this isn't an elaborate ruse?
Kon? No worries. I'm one of the foxes that serve as a messenger for the gods. I'm completely harmless. Not a trickster at all, Kon.
You know, somehow that doesn't make me feel better.
No, that wasn't what I was. Okay, I'll go along with that. But then, what's this about me being between worlds? Am I dead?
No, not at all. Don't worry, you aren't dead.
Just dying.
Then what am I doing here?
I brought you here because I wanted to talk to you.
Without my permission? What are you, some sort of creep? And what's so important that you wanted to talk to me about it?
I mean, that does seem kind of rude.
No. You know what? Forget it! I've never even met you before, so you must have kidnapped me or something. I'm not going to talk to weirdos like you! I'm going home!
I mean, how?
Wait, you can't. The train.
Don't tell me what I can or can't do! I'm going back to the station and don't you dare follow me! I can't believe I almost fell for that whole between worlds nonsense! Ah!
As Mariko storms off, Hotaka glances down at Aina, tears threatening to pour down his cheeks. The wise old fox puts a paw on his leg to try to comfort him.
There. Humans sometimes have that reaction to coming here, Kon.
Oh, Aina. It's nothing like I had imagined or hoped for.
She'll come around, Kon. Just wait and be patient.
No, I've done enough waiting. This is my only chance to get through to her.
Mariko stomps angrily into the train station, and immediately approaches the desk to ring the bell once more. However, this time nobody comes. She furiously decides that she'll wait it out. Someone has to come replace Hotaka for his shift at some point.
Between worlds. As if! And what was with that creepy puppet act? Akitsu... Oh, whatever. Does he think I'm an idiot?
Mariko impatiently taps her foot as she waits for someone to come to the station, but still, no one appears. As the sun starts to set, a sense of fear and worry creeps into her head as she pulls out her phone. Her parents are going to be awfully concerned by this point. However, her mobile still shows that there was no reception. She angrily tosses the phone back in her bag and stands up. She paces for a while, furiously muttering to herself.
That was a close call. Who knows what would have happened if I followed that guy? I'd hate to think. But where is everyone else? This place seems like a ghost town. Maybe I should take a quick look around.
Mariko exits the train station and retraces her steps cautiously to the garden. The twilight air has turned brisk, and she can see stars starting to appear in the darkening sky. She shivers slightly, glad of her scarf and jacket. No one appears to be in the garden anymore. She follows the path around the large garden, hoping to spot any living creature. Suddenly, solitude no longer seems as safe or inviting as the chill night air gets darker and darker.
It really is a ghost town, isn't it?
Mariko shudders slightly as her loneliness sets in. It has been a couple of hours since she saw Hotaka and that fox thing. She keeps walking down the path until she is long out of the garden. As there is only one trail, she isn't worried about getting lost, and she can still see the train station in the distance. In the opposite direction, she can see lights further down the road. She certainly hopes that the lights are a sign of life, as she quickly makes her way towards them.
Please,
Nice
someone
place.
other than that kid. Be here. I just need to find my way home, please.
Nice house. As Mariko moves closer to the lights, she sees the form of a house taking shape in the darkness. It looks like a cute little Western-style cottage, and as she approaches, she can see more details. Lace curtains adorn the windows, and flowering vines wrapping their way up the many trellis planters around the building. The garden surrounding the cottage can only be described as vivid and beautiful. Various flowers, fruits, and vegetables litter the property in organized patterns and rows. Each of the edible plants looks more delicious than the last. As Mariko reaches the painted white fence that surrounds the edifice, she almost stumbles over a rock-lined cobblestone pathway. She follows along the path, which leads her straight to the fence's gate. Mariko hesitantly touches the gate, which swings open invitingly. She then half walks, half sneaks up to the front door, all the while trying not to appear suspicious. She's never really had to approach an unknown person's home on her own before. Where she lives, everyone knows everyone, and all are welcome to visit each other for one reason or another. As Mariko wavers at the door, waiting to knock, she ponders on the fact that she's never seen this sort of Western architecture around her hometown. She wonders how it got here. However, all thoughts on the matter are dashed from her head when the door opens underneath her raised hand.
Hello there, darling. I was wondering when you might come by.
Well, that's scary. Mariko almost leaps out of her skin when she sees 3 pairs of red eyes staring at her.
Oh, sweetie, don't be afraid. Come on inside. It's nice to meet you. My name is Hashiko.
What?
Oh, dearie me. Are you surprised? You must not have met many Jorogumo.
Jorogumo. Jorogumo are a type of yokai in Japanese folklore. A Jorogumo is a spider that can change its appearance into that of a seductive woman. According to legend, when a spider turns 400 years old, it gains magical powers. In some places, Jorogumo is worshipped as a goddess who protects people from drowning.
No, I have not. Are you real?
I am indeed real. Come now, it's cold out there. Come in. Come in.
Okay. But first, may I ask if you have a phone? My name is Mariko, by the way.
A spider inviting you into her home? I don't know, that doesn't seem like a bright idea.
I have a phone, yes, but not one that will connect you to the place you're trying to get hold of, I'm afraid. It doesn't work very well anyway.
Oh.
Come now, my dear. Let's get you warmed up. Would you care for some tea?
Yes, please.
Oh, this seems like a bad idea to me. Mariko steps into the lemons? Lemons? I've never read that word before. I mean, I suppose I would have read it the first time I played this game, but... It is a word. Huh. A threshold below which a stimulus is not perceived or is not distinguished from another. Threshold. Lyman. Threshold. Lehman? Not sure how it's pronounced either. Could have just said threshold, you know. Mariko steps into the Lehman's and takes a look around as she takes off her shoes. Her eyes then come to rest on her host. Not only does the beautiful woman have 3 sets of red eyes, but she also has 4 more arms than Mariko would normally expect. But then again, Mariko is starting to suspect that this whole occurrence is a dream. She decides to ignore the fact that the beautiful woman might eat her, and instead follows her to what appears to be a sitting room.
You must be so surprised. Not many humans get to come to Midway.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about eating her, that was sort of what I'm thinking. Be concerned about.
Is that so? It certainly feels dreamlike here. I keep pinching myself so I can try to wake up, but so far it's not working.
While I'll agree to your description of my home, I have to assure you that this is not a dream. Here, have a seat, and I'll make that tea I offered earlier.
Thank you.
Mariko looks around while the Spider Woman, she has a name, you know, moves around comfortably in her own space. She disappears down the hall for a while, and Mariko can hear the sounds of a kettle boiling water, as well as Hashiko rustling around. When she returns, her extra pair of arms are laden with trays full of tea and treats. Hashiko sets them on the coffee table before Mariko, and signals with one hand the human girl to help herself. The Spider Woman then picks up 3 pairs of knitting needles and sets to work.
Thank you for the tea and cookies.
Not at all. No trouble at all, dear. Enjoy, you poor little thing. Eat up.
A tense silence fills the space between them, as Mariko watches Hashiko carefully. the Spider-Woman returns her gaze.
So, you're not going to eat me, are you?
What sort of question is that? Of course not, child. I only eat naughty men.
Well, that's good to know. That's comforting then.
Oh. Your garden. Why is it... How did you grow such a vibrant garden in the winter?
Oh, you know, I had to use a little magic to encourage the plants along. I really should have invested in a greenhouse, but that's in the past.
Oh, I see.
Ask about Midway or her. I mean, I feel like in this situation, can you tell me about Midway?
So, what can you tell me about Midway? I've honestly never heard about anything like it before. I mean, usually I hear there's a spirit world and a human world, but that's it.
Good question.
Thank you.
Midway is a place for spirits and humans to convene. It's a safe, neutral ground.
And you live here, but you're a spirit. Shouldn't you be in the spirit world?
I got myself wrapped up in some trouble some years ago and decided it would be best to leave both the human and spirit worlds be.
That means she ate people, I'm guessing.
Interesting.
So, tell me about yourself to pass the time. If you don't mind, that is. You see, I'm waiting on a pie to get out of the oven.
Ooh.
Oh, okay. Well, my name is Mariko, like I said earlier. I'm in my senior year of high school. I live out in the sticks, so I have to take the train to the next city over to go to school. I'm going to be going to university several cities over when I'm done. I just haven't picked out which one yet. There are two that are close to each other, and it's between those two. Oh, but you probably don't care about all that. I'm sorry.
Oh, no worries, dear. I actually have a pretty good idea of who you are. It doesn't bore me, though. You see, my little friend, Hotaka, is quite taken with you.
Mariko almost protests out of sheer embarrassment, but Hashiko holds one of her many hands up to placate the girl. Mariko decides to hear the spirit out.
Now, he doesn't mean anything bad by it. He's just very fond of you. Speaking of Hotaka, if you want to go home, I'm afraid you'll have to ask him. After all, you were brought here on his whims.
But why? I don't know him. Or if I do, I don't remember.
That answer lies within you. I'm afraid I can only tell you so much, but I will tell you this. If you do not find that boy and make amends, you will never return to your world.
I mean, you could probably get used to living in this place.
Make amends? But what did I do wrong?
I'd say your outburst hurt his feelings, but I'm sure if you apologize, he will take you home. He's a pretty good kid. His only fault is that he's naive, really.
Oh, I see. I guess I'll go find him and apologize then.
That would be for the best, my dear.
So, where do I go to find him?
I'm afraid I don't know that, but I'm sure you'll find the way on your own. I suggest you leave tomorrow morning. Would you like to stay on the guest bed?
Would you allow me to? Thank you so much. I'm afraid I don't know my way around at all, especially since it's nighttime.
That's understandable, my dear. When you are done with your tea, there's a pull-out mattress inside the couch.
Thank you.
Ugh.
I will probably turn in soon. It's been a rather exhausting day.
Pull-out mattresses are so uncomfortable.
Of course. Well, I'll leave you to your thoughts. I have to clean up after our tea party. The pie will be done shortly. I'll bring you in a piece later.
Actually, I'm rather full. Would you mind setting it aside until morning?
Pie for breakfast? My word. But I suppose I'll let it slide. This time. It's a special occasion after all.
Being an adult means being allowed to have pie for breakfast. Hashiko stands up from her chair and picks up the used trays, making sure to leave Mariko's tea behind, as the girl wasn't quite finished. She then waltzes elegantly to the kitchen and disappears through the doorway. Mariko can hear her washing the dishes they had used. She glances at her tea before taking a sip.
Do I know Hotaka from somewhere?
Mariko ponders this question while she finishes up her tea. She leaves the cup on the saucer and stands to go investigate this pull-out couch. She finds it rather easily thanks to Hashiko's directions. She cautiously moves the coffee table and couch cushions and extends the mattress out. Mariko takes a seat on the makeshift bed and puts her bag on the coffee table, which is nearest to the couch. She checks her phone one last time. Despite the feeling of futility it brings, it gives her a sense of normalcy in this strange world. As she swings her legs up onto the mattress and covers herself in a blanket, Mariko reflects that this dreamlike world wasn't actually so bad now that she was getting used to it. Before too long, the girl is asleep. Hashiko peeks her head through the doorway to check on Mariko before heading deeper into her room, with the intent of also heading to bed. Mariko's phone alarm suddenly blares as the morning light reaches through the window to attempt to touch the foot of the fold-out bed. She stirs slowly, almost knocking the phone off the coffee table as she reaches out to turn the alarm off. She then wakes with a start, foggily realizing that she isn't in her bedroom at home. She looks around and slowly pieces together where she is.
That's right. So, it wasn't a dream then?
Mariko bites her lips nervously as she rests her hands on her knees and considers what she must do to return home. First, she has to find Hotaka and apologize. And after that, she should be able to go home, right? But what if it isn't that easy?
I guess I'll deal with it when the time comes.
She stretches and rises from the bed, grabbing her phone and putting it back in her school bag. She then slowly rearranges the bedding and tucks the pull-out bed back inside the couch. She realizes that she can't hear anyone else stirring and wonders where Hashiko is. She decides to call down the hallway.
Hachiko, are you here?
I am indeed. What would you like for breakfast? I'll bring it in there.
Oh, I'll have whatever you're having, if that's not too much trouble.
What if she's eating bugs? Or people?
Not at all. Just give me a bit and I'll be right in.
Soon the sounds of cooking in pots, pans, and plates rustling around begins. It is soon followed by a series of delicious smells wafting into the sitting room. Mariko's patience is rewarded when Hashiko comes through the doorway carrying a few plates stacked high with food. As Hashiko lays the platters out on the coffee table, Mariko gets a good view of the breakfast. Eggs, sausage, toast, jam, tea, and some other dishes that Mariko can't put a name to. Each of the plates are made of what appears to be white bone china, with beautiful flowers painted on decoratively. The tea set matches the dinnerware and Mariko admires the colorful paintings before she takes a sip of tea.
I just love Western things. Food, houses, you name it. I hope you don't mind the Western food. I don't even have most of the ingredients for a traditional Japanese breakfast.
No, I don't mind. Thank you. What are those?
Mariko carefully loads up a plate full of sausages and eggs, before pointing to a slice of bread that has an egg in the middle.
Oh, those are called eggies in a basket. And next to that is some French toast.
Mariko decides to try a slice of each. A bit of last night's pie is set aside for her on a different plate. She takes a cup of tea to wash the food down. She honestly isn't used to this sort of cuisine. She can recognize some of the items from when she and her parents went out to eat at a breakfast diner in the big city. But it's not like any of the foods are a staple in her diet. Even the tea is different.
Oh, this tea is different from last night. What kind of tea is this? It's very strong. Kind of citrusy? It's kind of like drinking soap or perfume. Oh, but, not in a bad way.
Oh, that's Earl Grey. It's black tea with a touch of bergamot oil. Last night's selection was green tea. I hope this is to your liking.
Tea. Earl Grey. Hot.
It's different, but I think I like it. My favorite tea is jasmine. How about you?
I must admit that I am a sucker for most teas. However, I'm not big on teas with spices. I think my favorite actually is Earl Grey. I drink it every morning.
I can understand that sentiment completely. I have jasmine most days.
The two enjoy the rest of their breakfast in silence, and Mariko thinks to herself that it's a sign of how good the food is, that neither of them are speaking. They are too busy eating after all.
Thank you for the breakfast. It was delicious. I think I'll be heading out soon. Do you have any suggestions as to where I should go?
Isn't there only like one path?
I'd follow my heart if I were you. I'm sure you will find your way.
Well, I guess I'll be leaving then. Is there any way I could repay you for your hospitality?
No, not at all. Any friend of Hataka's is a friend of mine. I'll make him work for me instead. I'll probably wrap him up in gardening duty.
Sounds fair. The spidery woman chuckles, and Mariko laughs as well. She then bows her gratitude, grabs her bag and her shoes from the foyer, and puts them on before heading out. She thanks the lady one last time, and Hachiko merely waves. Once the door is closed, Mariko makes her way out of the garden and onto the path.
Which way should I go?
One direction leads back to the train station, and while Mariko wishes it were that simple, she has a gut feeling that she has to go further down the rabbit hole than she would like. She starts walking in the direction opposite of the train station. As she walks, Mariko can see a wall of trees coming into view as she nears what appears to be a forest. The entrance to the forest has two grand trees that stretch far towards the heavens, only to bend together in the middle to form an archway. Mariko keeps steadily walking towards it until she passes through the archway. She gasps. It's as though she opened a door to another world simply by walking through the trees. Mariko had always played in the woods near her house as a kid, but she had never seen anything like this place, which seemed somehow enchanting. As she follows the steady path, the plant life grows thicker and the morning light becomes dim due to the canopy of trees above her head. The world becomes greener and more lush the further in she walks. She's never seen anything so naturally beautiful before. Dew drops glitter on the plants, making for a beautiful light show as the sun plays off of the water. Dragonflies and birds flit and flutter about, enjoying the cool air and plentiful plant life. Mariko can hear various wildlife sounds as she continues to walk the path. Mariko starts to skip jauntily down the path, which does not seem to waver no matter how far she goes. As she travels, her heart feels lighter and lighter. She smiles and skips and twirls around a few times, absolutely taken with the forest. She doesn't notice the figure in time as she runs right into someone with a hearty thump.
Ow!
She lands harshly on the ground and rubs her pain back. Mariko then looks up just in time to see the fox spirit from before. The fox helps her to her feet.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I was just coming to greet you. I didn't realize you couldn't see me, Kon.
I mean, coulda, just wasn't paying attention.
Oh, it's you. From before.
Aina is my name. Kon?
I'm sure it's authentic, but it gets, like I said, got old real then.
So, you're really a fox spirit.
Yes, indeed. I take pride in my status as a messenger for Inari, Kon.
Oh yeah, you mentioned that you communicate with the gods. I'm impressed.
Thank you for the compliment, miss.
Hey, I'm sorry I called you an animatronic earlier. Well, I didn't mean to accuse you, but I was kind of in shock. I'd never seen spirits before.
I'm sure you were shocked even further when you met Hachiko. I'm all right, miss. No harm done. Kon.
So, why are you here?
I'm sorry if this startles you, but it is rather urgent.
What's wrong?
I need to pass on a message to you, Kon, whether or not Hotaka wants me to.
You shouldn't go spilling other people's secrets.
What is it?
That even if you go and apologize to him, he isn't inclined to help you go home. Personally, I don't think he's acting like himself. Something's wrong.
Well, that sounds jerkish of him.
No way! Ugh, what more could he want from me?
I think that's up to you to find Kon.
All right, I suppose I have to own up for hurting his feelings, and I honestly feel bad that he seems to know me, but I have no idea who he is.
Perhaps there's something to that.
I guess I'll start looking for him. You wouldn't happen to know where he is, do you?
I'd say he's hidden himself away. You'll have to be clever to find him. Good luck. I'm sorry that I cannot help you more. I'd advise you to reflect on your earlier thoughts, Kon.
Thank you. I'm sorry for bumping into you so hard. I guess I'll be going now.
You are welcome, miss. I wish you the best on your journey, Kon.
The two bow to each other and go their separate ways. Mariko looks back to check on the fox one last time, only to find that the spirit is nowhere to be seen. Mariko peers down the path, but can see nothing, and shrugs it off as the fox spirit having used some sort of trick to get away quickly. It's what they do. Mariko walks for what seems like hours, with the path not changing one bit. However, just when she is about to give up hope and turn around, a fork in the road catches her eye. There are 3 paths for her to take. After a while of biting her lip, trying to decide which path to take, Mariko takes the path to the left. She walks for some time before coming across a beautiful glade. A small hill with a waterfall rests at the end with a pond at its base. At the edge of the water sits a familiar figure. Mariko walks slowly towards her before rubbing her eyes, trying to see if what she is seeing is real.
Hello? I was wondering when you'd show up here.
Kinda familiar yet?
Who are you? Why, I'm you, of course.
But seems kinda jerkish.
I don't understand. You wouldn't. Look at me, I'm Mariko. I only care about keeping up my personal image in order to stay true to myself, only to get lost in my own selfish brooding.
Man, this copy seems jerkish.
What? But I don't... Oh, yes, you do. You're just an ungrateful child. Look, the whole thing about me being ungrateful... Wait a second. How do you know about my insecurities? I haven't told anyone. You've certainly berated yourself about it enough, and therefore you've berated me. Who are you? You can't figure it out? Well, if you don't, you'll never leave this place. Answer my question. What am I? Okay, so you're me, but you also aren't me. You look like me and know my thoughts. You see what I really think of myself. All shiny and silver with a beautiful face. You look into me and find this place.
At first I was like, oh, are you saying I'm pretty? Oh, you think I have a beautiful face?
Huh? Though eyes I have, they have no sight. I can't be seen in the black of night. If I move left, then you move right. What am I?
A mirror.
I'm guessing those riddles are hints?
The being waits patiently as Mariko racks her brain for the answer. It is then that Mariko's eye catches her reflection in the pond water.
You're not me! You're a mirror! My reflection! Is that the answer? You are, aren't you? You've passed the test. Well done.
Thanks! The other Mariko disintegrates, and so too does the scenery around her in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, Mariko is returned to the fourth path. A mirror sits where the leftmost path previously was. She picks it up and cradles it in her hand. She has the feeling that she will need it later. As she stares at the other paths, she knows what she must do, and she runs down the central path. think I'm actually going to split this into 2 videos. So I'm going to end this video here. Honestly, there's not that much left of it. It's not a long game by any means. It does only take like an hour and a half. Given the way like that I'm reading out loud the dialogue, making occasional comments, figure probably another 45 minutes left, including like some extra stuff. So yeah, very short. But you will see that in the next video. So this will be part 1, and part 2 will come in a few days. So I hope to see you for part 2 of When Our Journey Ends.